Hello and welcome students for Vijetha IAS Academy ethics classes. We are dealing with case studies. We are going to deal case study number 24. This is a case where complex procedures are involved, but ethically what a civil servant should do. A civil servant is supposed to do as per the law, but at the same time, for every incident, for every instance, there will be no law. Otherwise, for each and every human action, how many laws you can do? There are certain circumstances in which ethics will guide your behavior. Ethics will guide your duty. That is how this kind of case study we are going to encounter. Here we are dealing with various types, and now we are almost reaching when a civil servant is performing duty, various kinds of actions they are going to perform. They are going to come across various cases: acting against corruption, asking favors from you, disaster management, solve a social issue, threats to you, toxic work culture, now working with complex procedures. This issue is something related to a woman is there, old woman, needs some help from the government, not able to eat, and the government should provide the basic amenities. But problem here is, if government wants to provide certain things, everything has to be done by law. Legally it should be done. But she don't have anything to prove her legality. No document to prove that she is eligible for certain schemes. But by seeing the conditions, you clearly know that she needs help. What you are going to do? Suppose you are an officer in charge of implementing a social services scheme to provide support to old and destitute women. An old and illiterate woman, and what is the scheme purpose? The scheme purpose is to provide support to old and destitute women. Old and destitute women. Let us see. Your purpose, your scheme itself is to ensure scheme for old and destitutes. The spirit of scheme is to help. In a developing country like India, many people will be requiring help. This spirit is to help. An old illiterate woman comes to you to avail the benefits of the scheme. However, she has no documents to show that she fulfills the eligibility criteria. Old and destitute. But after meeting her and listening to her, you feel that she certainly needs support. Your enquiries also show that she is really destitute and living in a pitiable condition. Legally, there is nothing to prove that her condition is like this. But when it comes to real conditions, this is how. You are in a dilemma as to what to do. Putting her under the scheme without necessary documents would clearly be violation of rules, but denying her the support would be cruel and inhuman. So here, clearly violation of rules versus, if it is the case, violation of rules. If you help. This is how ethical dilemma is emerging now. Ethical dilemma. Violation of rules. If you help, it becomes illegal. You are violating the rule of law. If you do not help, inhumane and cruel. If you do not help, what should be done? This is ethical dilemma, classic case of ethical dilemma, that you clearly know that she needs help, but if you do not help, it becomes inhuman. You want to help, but if you help, it becomes a violation of rule of law, and for that even you also will be punished. If you violate law, then you attract punishment, and if you violate ethical values, human values, and your conscience of crisis will come. Here you will attract punishment, you will be fined or imprisoned, whatever. But here conscience, guiltiness will come, guilt conscience. You will feel guilty in front of. Here when it comes to conscience, you are going to face a lot of crisis in this. And if you violate law, this is a punishment. If you violate ethical values, conscience of crisis, guilty will happen in front of. How to resolve it? Whether you want to resolve it or not. Whether you go strictly by this or you want to find some alternative way to this. Question is, can you think of a rational way to resolve this dilemma? Give your reasons for it. Is there any rational way? Rational way they are talking. Irrational means simply by blinding you say that I will not go by strictly, I will go by strictly legality and I will not help her, then it is inhuman. Then what is the purpose of civil service? The purpose of civil service is, what is the purpose of civil service? Civil service is to improve the conditions of life, improve the conditions of people. This is what? Purpose of civil service is to improve the conditions of people, and particularly vulnerable people, elders, destitutes, who are needed, and this is where his country is all about. And if you are not trying to help, then what is the purpose of this? The purpose of civil service is to help. There so many people are there who are suffering from poverty, hunger, illiteracy. They always expect some kind of help. Now how can you do this? Improve the conditions of life. The main focus of civil service is to do that. Then if you don't do that, then what is the purpose of having that? But again, it doesn't mean that you can help illegally. You can just go by your own wishes. If everyone does the same, now without legality, if everybody does that, they themselves decide that who needs help, and if they start giving that, then country will not run. Country needs laws. Country needs regulations. Otherwise, what will happen? These many people are there, these many issues are there. Then if everybody decides everything without there is no systematic way of assessing the situation, and if everybody decides what to do, then it becomes arbitrary in nature. Arbitrary in nature. Then people will not believe. If there are laws, then people will not believe in the laws, and it will result in the chaos. It will result in chaos. Chaotic conditions will emerge. That's why rules and regulations are made when population increased. And in the first place, when population increased, when few people are there, then people will not agree for certain things. There must be some kind of law. That's why you have to respect. As a civil servant, you are supposed to implement laws. You cannot flout the laws. If you yourself do not respect the laws, then people will not respect the system. If people don't respect the system, then law and order will not prevail. If law and order do not prevail, then everywhere chaos, then progress will not be there. We are moving from Stone Age to the modern age. Now once again we will go back to the primitive stage. where people used to fight for small things. Because the resources are very limited, people had to fight for the survival. And this kind of survival of the fittest kind of situations will emerge if you do not respect laws. And this is very large scale, deep level thinking of the purpose of laws. But you may ask the question, if I don't follow law in this case, anyway she needs help, the purpose of civil service is to help, will it create such kind of laws, completely chaos? No, obviously not. And that's where rational method, the question itself is asking, what is the rational way? You cannot go to any extreme, but what is the rational and pragmatic step? How can you help it? There will be legal methods only. You need not to worry that if your intention is to help destitute, definitely there will be some kind of mechanism legally itself for every action, for every movement, for every person. Laws cannot be made. Parliament will make law, state legislatures make law, and also give certain guidelines, directions that in case of emergency arises, in case of dilemma arises, there will be certain provisions. Through those provisions, such kind of issues can be resolved. It's not that you cannot solve this problem at all through legal means. There will be some kind of mechanism within law itself, there will be provided that under certain conditions, under certain circumstances where law clearly not states, also still you can use this framework to resolve the crisis. So that kind of mechanism will definitely be there. Otherwise, running this much country, 1.4 billion people, it's very difficult. And that is the wisdom of parliamentarians and legislatures also to create that law. Therefore, it's not that always whatever you are going to, even if you help, it's not that going to be completely violation of law. There will be certain legal methods only to manage this issue. But all that you need to know is how to identify those. It's all about identification of the right step. Now let us try to find what are the right methods in this. So first question is, what is rational method? What is the rational way? And first is to inquire and document the conditions. In the first place, suppose if there is a village, you think that for the first time scheme is emerging. Scheme for the first time. And if you are adopting, if you are trying to bring certain scheme for the first time, there must be some kind of mechanism to identify the beneficiaries. Otherwise, in the first place, how some villagers become eligible for this scheme and some people will not become eligible for this scheme? Definitely there will be based on income certificate, based on housing, property. Some mechanism will be there. If this criteria do not meet by the people, then they are eligible for that particular scheme. So in the first place, nobody will have the document. It's again the civil servant only deciding that who are going to be the beneficiary in this particular village. But in the first round, let us say in the first round, some people, even though they are require help, they are meeting the eligibility criteria, still they are not able to fall under this category. Suppose if you take, say like income certificate, some people may take it, some people may not take it. Say like when it comes to property, right, some people may have property registration, some people may not have it. And Aadhaar card, some people may take it, some people may not be able to take. And the government says that Aadhaar card can be taken by everybody, and there will be one center here, Aadhaar center, registration center. And what if at the corner of the village there is an elder person not able to move and also not even know that this kind of scheme is going on? Then if law says unless Aadhaar card is there, food grains will not reach. The scheme is to distribute food grains for the needy. In the first place, why this food grain scheme is coming? The distribution of food grain is to do so that no elder person, no destitute will die with hunger. Then there is no point of having an independent India. During British time period also, millions of people killed because of lack of food. Then even after independence also, if we are killing ourselves just because of lack of documentation and lack of correct mechanism, then it is shameful on us. That's why in the first place itself, people may not know because they are illiterate. Already it is what it is saying, illiterate. They do not know what is happening, what is the requirement, elder people not able to come. And they were trying to live, managing their lives. One day, elder person might be knowing that by approaching you, by approaching a civil service servant, somebody might have suggested, go to this particular civil servant, then he may or she may help you. Now she approached and this civil servant asked, what kind of mechanism you have? Is there any Aadhaar card? Is there any ration card? Is there another? If everything is there, they may not be in this condition. And that's where you have to identify. Because of such kind of issues, so many people, even after 1947 also, even after 77 years of independence, still that time also large scale poverty, still in India poverty is there, in remote villages, in poor districts, in poor states, still poverty is there. And people are not educated, illiterate people. That's why they do not know what is right for them, what are their rights. People do not know their rights. Now this is the stage you are entering into civil services. And you have to consider humanely about this condition. It's not that everybody 100% illiterate, educated, that's why they are not taking some certificates. Then we can manage. This is how you have to show some kind of mechanism that how to deal with this, because this is the historical issue. This is the historical issue. Otherwise, mechanically like a robot, if there is a law, then you will follow. If there is nothing, despite your intervention is required here. And it's not that you are doing completely something which is going to harmful for the country. You are not encouraging any kind of terrorist here. You are not going to encourage any kind of drugs. You are not releasing any kind of weapons, drugs into the society. Here only you are trying to help a person who are in need. And that is the essential purpose of civil service is all about. That is the essential aim of government is all about. That's why you are not committing anything wrong. And you know, first you inquire and document the conditions properly. Once it is done, then automatically their conditions will be known to the government, and you are going to take action clearly based on objectivity. So this is what, first you make it objective in nature. It's not subjective. Otherwise, tomorrow some other person will come and say that they also don't have records, and they also showcase that they are destitutes. But will you give? That's why it's not possible. If everybody does like that, then the real intended people will not get the benefits. You should not do that. Objectively, it's not purely based on story or subjective matter. Try to inquire, document the conditions and objective, and speedily you do that. When they are in very fast manner, you speedily, and that's what government machinery will be there. Each and every level government will be there. Delhi level, state level, district level, block level, village level. Village means you take panchayat level, village level. Suppose if there is 2-3 villages, one panchayat for 2-3 villages, still you have something. So government machinery is properly already there. From top to bottom, government machinery is there. It's all about how you are going to activate it. Then somewhere in a remote corner of the village, if through panchayat, identify, inquire immediately, document immediately. What is that? Now, find what is the real authority. Suppose if Aadhaar card is not there, immediately arrange the people who are giving the Aadhaar card and maintain the mechanism, and that is the purpose. And suppose if there is any kind of income certificate is required, send the required officials, and here you have to identify that what is your role. Depending on that you can do. It's not that you are not a district collector, that every department will come under you directly. You can make a phone call and send them immediately. If you are not blind, if you are belong to some department, then you have to coordinate with the departments. Suppose you are an officer in charge of implementing a social service scheme to provide support. So you are an in charge of a social service scheme. Say like somewhere food distribution. Then food distribution means your department will be somewhere department related to food. But above you there will be your senior, and above will be like say district collector or district magistrate, district collector. So this is how the channel will be there. Whatever is possible below you, try to do immediately. And if something is required beyond your control, if you cannot sanction directly, then get the support from the senior and get the required sanction, and that is how. And the purpose of this hierarchy is to do that only. Then what is the purpose of hierarchy? Hierarchy is not only just this person will give orders and this person will execute. That is not the case. And the person below also give the feedback. Accordingly, they will change the direction. Accordingly, they will change the directions. If it is only one way, then it will become dictatorship. Dictator, nobody is allowed. But Indian democracy is learning how to be interactive, integrative and two-way. Otherwise, the ground level problems don't know. If it is only bottom, then Delhi will decide what state should do, state will decide what district should do, and it will decide what panchayat should do. And in panchayat, if you go there and people will say that this kind of issue is not solvable. Whatever Delhi decides, the same kind of solution will not be applicable on the ground. It may be applicable in certain areas, not in every place. One size fits all approach will not function. That's where you have to take the ground report, and you will get the ground report, and you take it to the senior if everything is not under your control to provide the necessary documentation. This is how. Now, if you say case by case analysis, assessment, first you take it. Then collaboration with local authorities. With local authorities, you do it. Document, you arrange the alternative documents immediately. And sometimes, yes, suppose if it is taking some time to give a permanent solution, then even you can include some NGOs who are working for elders. Some NGOs who are working for elders and who are working for the destitutes, you can also, meanwhile. So this is another safeguard. Government will provide the help, and if NGOs also help the destitute, it will become a more better arrangement, some kind of better solution, and also more better way of dealing in the long-term solution. Then once it is done, keep reviving and doing it, and regularly, frequently follow the procedure, whether they are doing it or not. So this is how it can be done. So the practical, pragmatic way is involve the local authorities, involve the people who are directly under you, get the sufficient documents immediately, and try to get. You are not doing anything illegal. You are only trying to make, first you are making this issue with the proper legal documents. Suppose if something she is very urgently needed, there will be some kind of emergency provisions which those with you try to identify those emergency provision through which you can help immediately so that life will be saved. First, ultimately, life of a person should be saved. Once life is saved, then arrange the legal method, complete legal method, safe legal method, so that you will help one time, but tomorrow you will not be there, but she should get help from the state continuously. That's where try to create a system. That is the purpose of this documentation. The documentation purpose is, suppose if there is a ruler, say like Raja is there, king is there, and the king has seen that destitute, and now king gave whatever she requires and she is able to do. And suppose if king is died, and the next king will come, and the next king do not know what is the condition of her, and again she has to meet, and again she has to show her condition, And that's why it is very difficult. And if it is 1%, 2% means you can do. If there are millions of people, how many people Raja can do? That's why this legality documentation came. So that whoever may be there, if you show this document, that this document is verified document, state, that means Raja himself give that document in the ancient and medieval times. I am taking this example so that you will understand easily in the present circumstance. So that whether that king is there or not, whether king will directly come to your place or not, if you show that document to any official in the kingdom, they will give you whatever you are supposed to get. Similar manner, here there is no Raja. In democracy, there is no Raja. Here that is called law. Parliament pass a law, Prime Minister and Council of Ministers will execute this law, permanent executive will try to maintain it. According to this law, one document will be produced and given to you. Today one civil servant will be there, tomorrow some other civil servant will come, and after tomorrow some other civil servant will come. It doesn't matter. For the person at the ground level, this document is all important. If that document is there, you get whatever you are supposed to get. If some people are not able to get, and in the first incident, and you try to initiate that process and ensure that proper documents, legal documents, elder destitute will get. The government scheme will ensure that government scheme will benefit her continuously. You also include NGOs, because whatever government may give sometimes may not be sufficient. You can include NGO also to further assistance. So in this way, this kind of issue can be solved. Anyway, whatever may be the document related issue, if there is any kind of documentation issue, give your reasons for it. I am already giving it. This is how you can solve this kind of issue. Thank you very much.